We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
Because that challenge is one that we are willing to accept, when we are unwilling to postpone, and one in which we intend to win. This is not easy work, but it's something that we have to be unwilling to postpone, and we have to be willing to be limitless and to prove the impossible possible. With my grandfather in Indian boarding school that he was put into unwillingly, my mother in her 20s and 30s, the American Indian Resistance Movement, seeking justice for people is something that really drives me, and not just resisting oppression, but then also like seeking liberation and empowerment in a classroom and within a community. I definitely have quite a bit of time that I'm spending in classrooms. That looks really different. With some core members, I'm meeting with students, other teachers I might be co-teaching with. I may come in and do a small group with a group of their students to help them target their instruction more.
We have Motivation Monday. Motivators that we can do anything to the master.
I wonder if you all have do you have a place you could write down the stuff from Motivation Monday?
When I think back to my vision, I can give them as much feedback as I've written down, but I don't think there's going to be action taken on that, or that they're going to move forward unless there's a really solid relationship there. So I do spend a lot of my time each week inviting core members over for dinner and just having a really informal time together to spend time as people. The question always in my mind is, what do I know about them that I could use to influence them towards their vision? And it takes knowing people to figure that out.
I think it's rooted in that relationship and how well she gets to know them, and then bringing in what motivates them into all of their conversations ongoing, and connecting them with opportunities in the community. So the first thing I think of when I think of Amanda's vision is to the moon. We are in this work because we believe that anything is possible for our kids. Taking them to the moon, and we choose to do that because it's hard.
I always see this hashtag in my mind, hashtag to the moon. It's at the end of all her emails, but it's not just a hashtag. She lives that out. She is all about the kids. She's all about the core members. She will not stop until you are over and above the moon.
I want to be explicit with them that I'm modeling to you the same way that you can create this in your classroom and with your students.
One of the most amazing moments for me was last year when all of our core members were sitting and having this town hall forum, and they said, what are some of the great things about South Carolina? And one of the core members spoke up and she said, well, my MTLD just has this vision around to the moon, and it just really inspires our whole cohort about what's possible for kids. One of her core members, Kate Clark, has started this Million Words campaign for the entire county. It has been working with the library. They have these Saturday workshop reading days.
The library really is a place where people across many lines of difference come together in that spirit of community, but we're also getting really invested in reading.
It's how are you, core member Kate, making sure that you are empowering parents, kids in the community to have enduring impact on kids? I don't know, just the ways that I see kind of anecdotally the leadership in her core members is just far outpacing the leadership of any other cohort.
Annie came into the core with quite a bit of work experience. Annie also had a really ambitious vision for her students to be innovators. My work with her was very driven by me in the beginning, where I was, okay, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna plan your lesson together, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna co-teach this with you, and I want you specifically just to be watching the statements I'm making to students. I was in her classroom holding up signs in the back and doing a lot of real-time coaching techniques with her to help her see a vision of not just what her students were capable of, but for Annie to see what she was capable of. So once her classroom got to a place that kids were at desks and they were working, that's really when I was able with Annie to push more into what's the next limit you're gonna push. She wanted to provide a 1-to-1 laptop ratio in her math classroom. She's gotten her computers and had one company basically create a library at her school. Through technology, her students having the skills to be the very skilled mathematician, engineer in this company right there in their home community.
Well, Amanda has that relationship with the teachers, that really inspires me to develop a relationship like that as well, because I see, the results that can yield.
It's easy to feel distant at times from students when I'm not in the same space with them every day. But I want to model this to my core members. This is something that drives me when I'm connected with people and part of the community. And so not being from South Carolina, I just have a really strong feeling about making decisions about students and about a community that I have not been a part of. I've got to make it a priority to learn as much as possible about the context for myself, but then also to model that to core members that this is like how you do this. It can't just be about who you are and what you want. We've got to know about the space around us and the people around us. There's no way that I could ever hold all of the information about South Carolina, but what I can do is create the space for core members to actualize our diversity statement, that our students and their families, our communities have to be the ones at the forefront of this. They've got to find a way for their students to be the leaders, and that's, I think, one of the most critical pieces of my job. Not because it's easy, but because it's hard. To the moon.